Thank you, Neil. um, and as always, we have the team here, Maya and Neil, part of the resident team at Dharmagiri, and my name is Pumla, for those who haven't met me before. And today we are so honored to have Ofosu with us here, joining us virtually from the US, and is gonna just share some delicious, delicious sound with us and a beautiful talk. And Ofosu is a musician and an author, and he's got a beautiful, I think it's a children's book, it's a beautiful children's book out. And he's also a Dharma teacher, and he teaches in many centers, he hosts retreats, etc. And fingers crossed he'll be able to visit us on this side of the ocean next year. And obviously we'll share details of that as the logistics progress. But we're very excited to have made this cosmic connection with him all over Instagram, believe it or not. So thank you, Fusu. Over to you.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Dharmagiri, and thanks to everybody for joining. How y'all doing? Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Um, let's see. I just want to make sure that I can see everybody. What view is this on? Oh, okay. All right, cool. I just wanted to look at y'all. Feel free to share how you're doing in the comments, just how you are in this moment. We can continue to give ourselves space to arrive, and I welcome just, a gentle check in. You can share like where you're joining from, that'd be wonderful, but also just a word or two about how you're feeling. In this moment, I'm feeling like energized and happy and grateful to be right here. And that is a big change from how I felt when I woke up. I'll talk more about that in a second. Yeah. But I'd love to hear from you. Is there a word between being stressed, energized, and calm? Yo, Denver in the house. Joy and gratitude. Hey, peace. Peace, Sue in Cape Town. From Durban, yeah. I'm joining you all from the Washington, D.C. area on the east coast of the USA. It is also the unceded territory of the Piscataway indigenous peoples here, and also the home of the unmarked graves of many of my African ancestors. Um, and it's more specifically, I'm in Rockville, Maryland, which is just outside of DC, but that's quite specific. Yeah. Oh, from West, welcome. Okay, from Clan William, from Durban. Maria's feeling calm. Joining from Johannesburg. Boston in the house. What up from the Bean? Tired and grateful. Jenny. Yeah. Thank you all for sharing and for being here. All right. So I'm coming through okay? Y'all can hear me all right? Okay.
Loud
Yeah.
and clear.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Well, maybe not loud, but certainly clear.
Okay. If I need to be louder, you can turn me up on your end, yeah? Okay.
Will do.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. So, yeah. So again, my name is Ofosu Jones-Quartey. Um, My family is from Ghana in West Africa. I am a first generation American. I was born here in the States several rotations ago. And as it was shared before, I am a musician and author and Dharma teacher and secular mindfulness teacher. And I try to these days incorporate all of those pieces together in how I share my music and spirituality and thoughts on the Dharma and meditation practice and just living in this way. So my hope today is to share a bit about my practice. A lot of what I like to share revolves around self-compassion. As we all know, there is tremendous suffering happening all around the world, on the continent and off the continent, on all continents where people are. And then just, in the one of my favorite words, in the vicissitudes of life, all the ups and downs. There's suffering happening everywhere. I think it's important for us to deliberately cultivate peace, presence, and kindness within ourselves and within our communities as antidotes and responses to the suffering happening around the world. I really want to emphasize that taking time for yourself to go within, to touch peace, to even find moments of joy and happiness is very important as a deliberate response to the calamity that exists all across the world. So know that what we're doing here is important because this is also the world. This is also what's happening on Earth. It's not just the terror and war and bloodshed and despair, but this is also people gathering all around the world to practice loving kindness, to practice peace, to practice being present. And who knows what the ripple effects of our cultivation will do to just the next person that we encounter, much less the world over. So know that your presence matters and that it has a real effect. And again, that this is also the world. So I would like to begin with the premise. So having shared all that, let's go back and begin with the premise that life is a pretty ridiculous and strange proposition to find ourselves in. It's just, I really want to normalize how absolutely bizarre and peculiar it is to be alive. Because what is going on? If you ask anybody to tell you what's going on, what's happening, I don't think anybody could really tell you, could give you a definitive answer. We might be able to tell the story. We might be able to speak about the physical laws of the universe, but exactly what is happening is just this baffling mystery. And it's not just that it's mysterious, it's also very difficult. Now, I know some spiritual people will say that we made a contract with like the Akashic record or something like that to be here in this moment, but I don't remember signing anything. I don't remember signing no contracts to arrive on this planet in this time with my set of mental health conditions, with all the traumas and all the other stuff. I didn't sign up for any of that. I don't remember signing up for it. Maybe my karma did, but that is very ambiguous, and that is not something that I can really own up to. So here we all arrived, plop. And as soon as we get out, it's hard. As soon as we emerge, you're hungry, you're cold. And then you're just basically cold and hungry the whole time. Or sometimes you're a little hot, and then, then you try to get cooler. It just never stops. You never stop being hungry. You never stop being cold. It's not doom and gloom. I'm just saying it is very peculiar and it's not easy. And it's not your fault that it's hard. I mean, who signed up for it? Like, you can metaphysicize yourself into saying that you did, but do you remember doing it? I mean, some people are like super up there and maybe they can remember. I'm just saying, I don't remember. And it was very hot the other day here, and then it was just very cold. And I had to, like, one day I had my kids in shorts, and like 2 days later I had them in gloves. And there's an existential fear for that, but there's also just like, wow, this whole thing is completely out of control. I have zero control over just the temperature of things. Yeah, I just, you eat a meal, you think it's going to be great, but then sometimes it's indigestion, no control. It's just like, what's going on? So it's just so bizarre to be alive, and it's not easy, and it's not your fault that it's hard. So I just want to, if I can do anything today, what I'd like to do is to just encourage you to let yourself off the hook a bit. In America, we have a PhD. That's your doctorate. I'm not sure what the equivalent is where everybody else is joining from, but nobody has a PhD or a doctorate degree in being a human being. Maybe the Buddha, maybe our exalted masters, but the rest of us do not have higher degrees in being a human being. Even if we went to school for humanities, we're still figuring it out. So why, when we make mistakes, do we come down on ourselves as if we should have it all figured out? You don't even know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I couldn't tell you how a microwave worked. All the billion times I've used one, I couldn't begin to fix my mouth to tell you what's happening. That's just one thing. The devices that we're all on right now, it's all rocks. Glass is rocks. Metal is rocks. Plastic, okay, liquid, rockish thing. But it's all, and we're talking to each other through space. It's just so bizarre. Not your fault that it's hard. Not your fault that it's weird. Don't be unkind to yourself. I think that's all I just be going around saying that. Don't be mean to yourself. I have meditated for a long time and I have just about zero attainment. But the one thing that I do have is a hard learned lesson to be kind to myself. And I've had to learn that lesson a lot. And that's what I just want to share with all of you is practicing kindness towards yourself is, I think, the most sane response when we are out here in this very bizarre place we call the world, experiencing all the ups and downs, the external ups and downs, to say nothing of the internal ups and downs. What is the best response in a completely bizarre, unpredictable, dangerous situation? I don't think it's anger or hatred towards ourselves, much less towards others. But I think we have to begin with ourselves. So if you're holding yourself, if you're indicting yourself, if you have a voice inside that is very unforgiving, I encourage you to lift up a kinder voice within. I started trying to change how I talk to myself, and it felt so dumb at first. Felt very, very stupid. And I just started talking to myself. I went down to like the most basic level, the way that you know how you applaud a child for doing the most basic thing, like you peed, fantastic, or you You brushed your teeth, or you just got out of bed. When I was at my lowest point, I started experimenting with congratulating myself for just the most basic things. And it would help me just to get out of bed, just to get to the bathroom, just to get downstairs. It's like, oh, you made it downstairs. It is, I think, in these times, essential for us to refuel ourselves with our own love and compassion. And if it feels stupid, that's okay. What else are you going to do? You're already talking to yourself all the time, right? So what's the voice? You have a choice. What's the voice? Oh, that rhymes. You have a choice. What's the voice? Yo, you're already, there's a narrative already running. So this morning, I sat for a decent amount of time, like 45 minutes. And I had a falling out with a former mentor slash therapist of mine this week. He espoused some ideas. He's a white man, and he was my professor in college, and became my therapist out after college, and grew into more of a mentor role over time. And he shared with me some ideas that I thought were frankly very racist, and I said as much, but just, in as kind of a way as possible. It's like, I just don't think that that's the right attitude to have. And he responded with a lot of vitriol, and he sent me lots of messages that were very hurtful, and bringing up things that we had worked on in therapy in the past, and just throwing them back in my face, and saying really terrible things, texting me at 3 a.m, waking my wife up, just like, I mean, it's very sad, actually, for my mentor, somebody that I cared deeply for, and who helped me a lot, to suddenly like turn on me and to espouse more racism and to basically harass me, and then to trigger me with very hurtful, traumatic things that, we had worked on. So when I sat in my meditation this morning, I just felt very low and dark. And the darkness of those things in the past, and of those words and all of that, I was sitting with so much of it. And I just allowed all of those things to be there. And it was really, really hard to feel into those feelings. But I have been practicing, working pretty diligently on the practice of self-compassion. And I came to a place of really deep self-loathing, thinking of all those old things. And a lyric that I wrote just came to meet that feeling. I wrote in a song I have called Frozen Lake, I had to reach the end of self-loathing to find where love began. And just that line, I had to reach the end of self-loathing to find where love began. That just came up in my meditation. And I said, oh yeah, I said that. Why did I say that? Oh, because I went through all of this, and none of that is happening right now. Right now, I'm just practicing. Right now, I'm in such a good space. And I just caught myself while I was falling, and it was amazing. And I feel fantastic, and I'm here. And that to me is I just wanted to share that, like, if you're practicing self-compassion and you find yourself falling, that self-compassion muscle can catch you. Because we can't afford to fall. Everything is wanting us to fall right now. We can't afford to fall. We can't afford to drown ourselves in our own self-loathing. It's not your fault that it's hard. So for me, I've just been working at it. And every once in a while, I'll find myself falling within myself. And then the hand of Avalokiteshvara, which is my own heart's hand, will catch me and say, you don't have to talk to yourself that way. You don't have to think about yourself that way. You don't have to go into the dark. At least not without a lantern. So, my friends, please, we're in a ridiculous situation. It's not your fault that it's hard. And be kind to yourself, even if it feels awkward. Because in my experience, the practice of self-compassion is the doorway to a compassionate understanding of the world around us. It's the doorway to being able to bring loving kindness into our relationships, to see our partners, our children, our friends with the eyes of the same love and care and forgiveness and grace that we are learning to give ourselves. And it just makes it a little bit easier to bear the unbearable. Okay. So I've said a lot. How y'all feeling? Thumbs up, thumbs to the side. We doing okay? Okay.
You're
So
gonna have
because
to give us some minutes. That was pretty deep stuff you went into.
Yeah, well, let's take a minute together. Let's practice a bit together. So I think we're all practitioners here. So if you like, oh, are y'all hearing that echo? Am I echoing? No? Oh, it's just me. Okay, that's fine. I've got my bowls here. So can y'all hear this? Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's sit together for a little bit. Sit or stand or recline, whatever feels right. And we'll just do a few minutes of guided practice and dropping into self-compassion a bit. So I'll begin with the sound of the bell. With body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness, I send my heart along with the sound of this bell. May all who hear it awaken from forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. So just taking a moment to allow what was said to land as it needs to. To give your body permission to relax. Allowing your shoulders to drop down away from your ears. Allowing the arms to become heavy and loose. giving your abdomen, your belly, permission to be soft. And just resting right here, right now, in this moment. Allowing your awareness to be free, to just notice whatever it wants to notice. The sounds happening around you, the thoughts moving through the mind, sensations of the body, the gentle pull of gravity. Just allowing your awareness to be open and free. Giving the body permission to soften and relax into this moment. Allowing the body to be a soft mountain and the mind to be the great sky. All that is here is enough. I invite you to gradually draw your awareness inside now. And as though you were visiting a dear friend or loved one, check in with yourself. Check in with your mind, your body, your emotions, and asking in the way a dear friend would ask, how are you right now? How are you doing mentally? How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing physically? And in the same way that you can respond to somebody that you really trust with the complete truth, you can answer, right now, in my mind, it's like this. Right now, in my body, it's like this. Right now, in my heart, it's like this. Just allowing your body, heart, and mind to express themselves. And now imagine if your best friend or a loved one or someone you care very deeply about was feeling exactly how you're feeling right now, mentally, physically, emotionally. What would you say to them? Whatever you would say to them, say to yourself in this moment. Take a moment to speak to yourself in the words of a friend, in the words of a loved one. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm proud of you. It's going to be okay. Whatever you need to hear in this moment, offer yourself those words. If it's helpful, you might even offer yourself some physical comfort by placing a hand over your heart and perhaps another over your abdomen. And you can gently allow your awareness to find a home. If it was a little awkward to speak to yourself in that way, it's okay. Just making the effort is enough. And now we can move into just allowing our awareness to rest. Perhaps it can rest on the rising and settling of each breath. Perhaps it can rest with the coming and going of each sound. Perhaps it can rest with a point of touch or sensation in the body. Or perhaps your awareness wishes to remain open. Whatever feels natural for your awareness, just allow it to rest there. And if the mind wanders, it's not a problem. You can just gently come back. I'd like to offer a few sounds from my singing bowls as we rest in meditation. So just relax, allowing your awareness to rest wherever it likes to. And enjoy the sounds as they come and go. Dear friends, let's take a deep breath together, breathing in, breathing out, taking a moment to appreciate the time you've taken to cultivate peace within your own heart. And in a moment, I'll ring the bell, and that would be the end of our meditation. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. How y'all doing?
So good.
Could I know we're a little over time. Could I share one song with y'all? Is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
Please do.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I just released an album called Amida, and I am very proud of it. And it is a Dharma inspired hip hop album. And yeah, if you would like to share how this experience was for you in the chat, please do. I'm just moving fast because I know we're a little over time. And I want to share this one song with you. Okay. All right. One sec. Let's do this. Okay. Can y'all hear this music?
We
Could y'all
did
hear that?
just now, but then it stopped.
Yes, I stopped it. Okay. Okay, this song is called Avalo, and it evokes the name of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, and it features my wife and daughter. So here we go.
Avalokiteshvara, while practicing deeply with the insight that brings us to the other shore, suddenly discovered that all of the five skandhas are equally empty. And with this realization, he overcame all ill-being.
Words of prison, blur my vision, her position, perfect wisdom. I've been sitting, digging deeper, and you can see the mucha linda, intravenous, inner demons, in between us while I'm breathing. I've been sleeping, I've been seeking, hibernation. I was dreaming, but she's been waking, and she's been taking flights to Venus. Ain't no faking, like Siddhartha, meeting Mara, like Avalo, Kiteshvara. Put your guard down, keep your heart up. Only love can keep the stars up, like Siddhartha, meeting Mara, like Avalo, Kiteshvara. All of my fear and my pain, breath, breath, breath. All my regret and my shame, breath. Calling my ancestors' names, breath, breath, breath. We are both one in the same breath. All of my fear and my pain, breath, breath, breath. All my regret and my shame, breath. Calling my ancestors' names, breath, breath, breath. We are both one in the same breath. Stop and listen, water glistens. I'm adrifting, contradictions, my reflection, introspection of living reckless and intersections. I sit on the floor, look at my feelings and more, but while I'm healing I can't help but feeling I'm still being torn. Maybe I'm being reborn, maybe I'm still being formed. Maybe the I call myself is really the eye of the storm. Tell me my mind isn't gone, tell me I'm righting my wrongs. Tell me it matters whenever we gather to write a new song. Well, she's been waking and she's been taking flights to Venus. Ain't no faking, like Siddhartha, meeting Mara, like Avalo, Kiteshvara. Put your guard down, keep your heart up. Only love can keep the stars up, like the Buddha, meeting Mara, like Avalo, Kiteshvara. Like Siddhartha, in the garden, like Avalo, Kiteshvara. All of my fear and my pain, breath, breath, breath. All my regret and my shame, breath. Calling my ancestors' names, breath, breath, breath. We are both one in the same breath.
Oh, my beloved one, my inner child, I know that you are afraid. I know how much you hurt, how much it hurts every day. I know your wish to be free, your wish to be healed. Walk with me and I will help you find your way. I want you to know that everything is okay. The things that happened to you weren't your fault. You don't have to hurt yourself because of them. I want you to remember to be gentle to yourself, to love yourself,
to love yourself as if you were your own precious child. Beloved one, there's nothing to be afraid of. Look around you. The entire world, the entire cosmos is who you are. The wind, the clouds, the flowers, the storms, the love, the agony, all of it is you. You are already free. You are already exactly who you want to be. Look inside and see yourself. Inside you is an ocean of love and understanding. Look inside you, and you will find the Bodhisattva, Avalokiteshvara.
Kwame Nkrumah, Shakyamuni Buddha. How'd that sound? Yay.
That was absolutely fabulous. Thank you. And so lovely to hear your wife and daughter's voice too.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll put a link to how to get that album in the comments, and then I'll turn it over back to Dharmagiri.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you for making us belly laugh so hard. And then go into some serious, deep reflection and meditation, and then making us, come on, dance a little bit. It was mindful dancing is what we did. Wow, that was really incredible. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing just your journey of just this week and the power of self-compassion and the power of staying present and how important it is to keep your practice going in those quiet moments, because when the storm comes, it hits hard and fast. And we need to have all these tools in our toolbox already to meet the strength of this wave that comes at us, blindsides us, sweeps us off our feet, and we find ourselves falling, and we're the only ones that can catch ourselves. And you said it so beautifully, that self-compassion is what can catch us. Thank you so much. That was a really beautiful sharing. And I'd love to open it to anyone else who would love to share, ask questions, make comments, and the floor is open. You can just put your emoji hand up or a literal hand up if that's easier for you. Some of us aren't that techno savvy. Whatever works better for you, go ahead and do that. And if anyone on the team would like to share anything, please.
Someone in the comments.
Yeah, Jenny, thank you so much. Ofosu, open, comforting, beautiful. Oops, the chat went away. Connecting, kind, creative, so needed right now. Yeah. And I think it was a beautiful change of pace from coming to sittings, and I love all our serious sittings and all our traditional Dharma talks that we get, not just at Dharmagiri, but just universally. It was just a beautiful change of pace to come into this with a different tempo. Yeah, who was that? Shanae, yeah, please go ahead and unmute yourself, Shanae, yeah.
Hi, it's Shanae from Johannesburg. I just have a question, really. I'm really inspired by your integration of music and mindfulness and meditation. How did you get to that point, and how do you sustain yourself?
That's long. Okay, so how do I answer this? Thank you so much for your kind words and kind question. I think to try to answer this quickly, I really my work as a mindfulness person and my work as a musician ran parallel, but oftentimes in opposite directions in terms of the ethics involved in both. And it just got to a place where I felt that I was being pulled in two very different directions, and that that I wasn't creating a legacy of art that I felt comfortable leaving to my children, like when I die. That was the impetus for shifting how I do my music. And I was going through a pretty 5 or 6 years ago, going through a pretty deep depression and wanting to also write about that. But my meditation practice was really a companion for me through that time. And I was really writing a lot about that. So my previous album, In This Moment, was a reflection of that. And I just wanted to be honest, about how life was going and how my practice was informing my life and saving my life, honestly. So I just decided to not be to be honest in my art and just to make it about my life, in terms of sustaining, my practice sustains me, and putting it all together is like this new experiment, and we continue to see where it goes.
I also wanted to thank you for that beautiful reminder to, on self-compassion and how to start slowly and gently, with every new skill, every new thing that we are learning and training ourselves in. Often we're like, oh, I'm just going to be self-compassionate now. I'll just know how to be good to myself. I'll just know how to be kind to myself. I'll wake up in the morning loving myself. I'll smile in the mirror. I'll stop shaming myself. I'll stop berating myself. And then we shame ourselves more when we don't just suddenly have the skill, And it's such a beautiful reminder to treat ourselves as children, because we are children on this path. We are learning a new skill, just like a child learns to walk and to eat by itself and to stand. That's what we're trying to do. We're learning to stand and to walk this path. And I absolutely love that reminder. I used to do the same thing at myself. I would literally in my head clap for myself like I'm clapping. I'm like, well done, you. You stayed present in that moment, or whatever it is, And it's funny because and it seems silly when somebody says it, but when you do it, you actually get a kick out of it. You're like,
do.
yeah, well done, me, And you actually, it's like a way of starting to parent yourself, because
very much
essentially
so.
as we grow into adulthood, we have to learn to reparent ourselves and give ourselves everything that was missing that we didn't get. And so it feels as good if, when we learn to talk to ourselves in that beautiful, nourishing way and fill that gap that's missing in our hearts. Thank you for that reminder.
So beautifully stated. Yes, absolutely. Just the smallest steps, the smallest victories, the smallest things. Just getting used to noticing that this was good. You did good. You brushed your teeth. That is great. Like you cared for yourself. Yeah. So, yeah.
Anyone else with some sharing? Raise your hand. In fact, you can even just unmute yourself. Yeah, go ahead, Annika. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for that. That was buzzing. On this topic, I'd like to ask about the role of self-compassion in being a parent. And yeah, if you can maybe say something about that.
Ofosu, are you there? I think he's frozen. I can see he's trying to move, but I think it's either lagging or frozen.
I could say something as a parent just while we're waiting.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
I'm
an
back.
impossible. Sorry, I won't be a minute.
Oh, he's
It's
back.
an impossible job. Okay. So we all do our best and we all fail.
Ofosu, I don't know if you heard that question. Thank you for sharing, for answering, and as an elder.
Yes.
But Ofosu, I don't know if you heard the question. Self-compassion in as a parent.
Yes, and I came in on the answer, and that's the answer. uh, so I'm a father of four. I've got a 21-year-old daughter, a 19-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old daughter, and a 7-year-old son. And I started my parenting journey right out of university, so I was a very young parent. And being there is few you have few situations present themselves with opportunities for self-shaming than being a parent. And I think this practice of, what would you say to a best friend, a fellow parent, that came to you and said, I'm struggling in this way? Just that model of how would I talk to a friend in this same situation? Most of us would say to our friends, hey, there's no rule book on how to do this. And every child is different. Every situation is different. And this child is triggering your own childhood trauma. So and it's not their fault that that's happening. It's not your fault that that's happening. I'm reading this book called Good Inside, that is that's about parenting. And I'm usually not, but I was teaching a parenting class and I wanted to, have some sources. But it's a reminder that you are good inside, and so is this child. This situation might suck. It might be really difficult, but let's just keep touching back in on our basic goodness. But just being that friend to yourself and having an attitude of unwavering forgiveness towards yourself and towards your little one as much as possible. But it is a very challenging, but cultivating that kind inner voice in the most mundane times will show up in the most crucial times, in my experience. Yeah, because I definitely was an unskillful parent in general, that happens, but just as a young parent, oh my gosh. But in being kind to myself over time, I was able to recognize that, apologize for unskillful parenting, and evolve my parenting style. So yeah, I think it's really important to just keep being a friend inside. So, yeah.
Thank you. So I just want to thank you for that really beautiful answer. I just want to acknowledge that it is 7 o'clock, and I understand that people do have to log on. I think Ofosu has agreed to give us another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, I'm cool to hang out a little bit longer. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So anyone that wants to hang out, please hang out. And thank you everyone who did log on and has to leave. Just a reminder to that if you'd like to make a donation to keep these sessions going, for us to be able to keep having them and keep seeing you and keep meeting you, and to also just to contribute to the longevity of Dharmagiri, the donation details are on the chat already. Okay, and then we have 2 hands up. We have Kanya. Oh yeah, we have 3. Sorry, we have Kanya. So we'll go with Kanya first, then Michael, then Yasmin. So Kanya, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hi, thank you everyone for a lovely session and insightful. I've got a 2-part question, but it borders on calm and collecting oneself. I'm also a parent to a young adult. My son is 18 years old. It's one thing to say to a person, calm down, and all of that. It sounds very cliche, but actually doing it yourself and telling someone else to do it are 2 different things. A quick one would be, my son last week went through something quite shocking for him. And by the time he got home from school, he had tried to calm himself down. But then on the second part, because he told me when he got home, it's like an hour or 2 later, and I started getting all excited, which meant I could then calm myself down for me to then handle his shock and whatever. So I'm just thinking now, as we are talking about calming as a parent, We go through many things, but I think the calming for me. So one thing I would like to learn a bit more. While I'm trying to say, okay, are you okay? What happened? Did they tire or whatever? All I'm saying is calming oneself as a parent when your child is trying to tell you something, as well as trying to calm them in the moment, even though it's after the fact. Just a bit calming thing, how to maybe breathe or whatever. Because now to say, calm down, but how do you actually do it in the moment or afterwards? Anyone can answer. Thanks.
Ofosu, we can't hear you. You're not on mute, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm happy to just offer a reflection here. The first thing I do is just, to your question, is remind myself that, okay, in order for me I have to take care of my emotions right now. And just like that quick reminder, like, okay, first take care of yourself. And a practical thing I like to do is to breathe in for a count of 4 and then breathe out for a count of 6, and just kind of do this silently as I'm beginning to engage with what the issue is. Of all of my children, it's my 7-year-old who can really trigger a lot of excitability in me. So I've noticed that I can take a moment, feel my feet making or whatever is making contact with the surface beneath me, and kind of ground myself, and then just take just 2 or 3 deep breaths, almost to just acknowledge to my own mind and body, like, okay, while all of this is happening, let's make sure we're taking care of ourselves in the background. So I like to ground myself and then breathe. And again, breathing in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 6 is a way that science has shown helps to engage the body's relaxation response. So slow and deliberate breaths are helpful for me. So I hope that's a helpful answer.
Thank you. And there's a lovely response in the chat as well. I can't read. The screen's a bit fast. I can't read the name. What is the name, Neil?
Oh,
Yuda. Yuda said, I like to grab my son and hug him and breathe deep. That's also a lovely addition. Thank you. And Michael, go ahead, please.
Hi, thank you so much for everything. Just a comment and a quick question. The comment is, also, I actually think I listened to your album, it might have been a few weeks ago, and I really connected to from what I gathered was some of your journey with anxiety, and yeah, so there's just to say thank you so much for, even in your music, being so vulnerable. I deeply connected with that. And then the question is somewhat related, but goes a bit deeper. Is so I'm a filmmaker, and a lot of the work that I do is it touches on social issues. And to be very honest, a lot of the work, because I'm really trying to engage with the particular subject matter, that and as an artist you can go to like quite dark places. And I wanted to find out from in your experience, how have you managed to balance your as an artist and the creativity that you express, and the places you sometimes have to go to actually bring that out, and to balance that with a sense of peace and well-being. It's often a struggle of mine, and I haven't actually found a lot of resources, to be very honest, of people who have really tried to dive deep into their artistry, as well as live a balanced kind of peaceful existence. So just to hear your thoughts and comments on that. But thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for your question. Thanks for listening to the music. I appreciate it.
Absolutely loved it.
Thank you. It is quite a vulnerable project, and I was just at Plum Village Monastery in France a few weeks ago, and I was asking a question. I was asking one of the senior monastics there, Brother Phap Lin, something similar, but really about like my own, when my own deep suffering feels unbearable. Something, it's a little bit different than what you asked, but I just want to talk about suffering itself for a moment. What he shared with me was a practice that another senior nun had shared with him, and so her name was Sister Elizabeth, and I just want to keep this rolling in my own kind of reflection with it. He said that when suffering wells up in us and it feels unbearable, we can do a counterintuitive thing, whereas we can actually enlarge the suffering to imagine all of the human beings and all of the beings in the past, all the way back to the beginning of time, who experienced a similar kind of suffering. And then imagine all the human beings or beings in general who are experiencing a similar kind of suffering in this moment. And then imagine all the beings in the future until the end of time who will experience a similar kind of suffering. And within that sort of endless expanse, your own personal feeling of acuteness can dissolve. And your own relationship with suffering as mine can evolve. That this is not just my suffering. This is an expression of the universal nature of suffering that affects all beings, that affects all my fellow human beings, that has affected, is affecting, and will affect from the beginning, middle, and end of time. But what can happen when that reflection expands in those endless directions is that our compassion can rise up to meet it. Now, this is something that is something we cultivate in our practice. This is why cultivating compassion in those mundane times is important, because when it's time to go big, and that's what Brother Phap Lin said about working with suffering, he said, go big or go home. So when the suffering gets big, then our compassion can get big, that our compassion can arise and meet those three times, that endless expanse, right? And so we can meet this endless legacy of pain with an endless legacy of love. We can think of our teachers, our friends, the forces of nature, all the elements of love in our lives. And we can also imagine that love and that beauty comes from a lineage that is also from the beginning of time, that also exists across the expanse now, and that will go on forever, so that our love can rise and meet it. And so the legacy of pain can meet a legacy of love and become a new thing entirely. And that it's not just you and you're not just swimming in your own suffering. As an artist, I think it's really important to be willing to jump into the ocean, but to also have a life jacket. And the life jacket is our practice of self-compassion. This morning, when I sat, it was so terrible. And I was noting what was happening inside. And it was just like, shame and guilt and self-hatred and anxiety and despair and loneliness and sadness, deep, deep sadness. And I was allowing myself to feel all those things, because in the very back of my mind, I know my life preserver of self-compassion is on. And I'm confident, somewhere in me is confident that I will not drown. But it's important for me to be in these waters right now and to feel all of this. And so I just encourage you to fill yourself up. I mean, that means doing. I have a collection of Batman statues. I do childish things just to nourish my inner child. I watch Star Wars, and I just go back to kid mode, just to be a kid sometimes. I'll eat a croissant in the middle of the night, just dumb things that just be you know what, just have this bite, just take care of yourself. And those, it might seem dumb, but I mean, just making those
Star Wars is a fantastic
peak.
fantastic practice.
That's what I'm saying. The new Ahsoka, molto bene. So
Oh yeah, come on, it's
so
amazing.
good. And I went back and I'm rewatching Rebels. Oh, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man with 4 children. You
Oh,
got to
yeah.
do that for yourself. Just be nice to yourself in those small moments, and then keep up the practice and keep up your deep practice, even in shallow times, because the depth is coming. Always. You know, so just don't be ashamed of being kind to yourself, because know that it's how you will sustain your important work. It's how you will be able to tell these stories. It's by coming back inside and warming yourself with all this, with your practice, and with all the ways you can be nice to yourself. Let's go have a pizza, you know, whatever it is. Let's take a walk, whatever. So I hope that's a helpful answer.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead, Yasmin. Thank you. That was a beautiful answer.
Thank you so much, Ofosu, for taking us to laughter and reality and tears and music and beautiful teaching. I resonated so deeply with what you were sharing about the experience you had with your mentor, somebody who's had similar experiences over and over again, actually. And as you were sharing your experience, I was wondering about that place between the inner work and the outer work. And, you know, how much of that work is my own work of working with the shame and working with the pain, and how much of that do I need to take back into the relationship, to the place of accountability, and from what place does that accountability come? Yeah, I can ask that question in many layers, but let me leave it there for now. And if it's too fresh to go there, you can also say so. Thank you.
Sure. I feel like your question is a big riddle, an important like Zen koan, and I there were some things in what my mentor said to me that as, even though they were very hurtful, I really needed to hear them to recognize that I'm not in that place anymore. And I'm not this is hurtful, but it's not this is not the same. I'm not in the same place, but I actually really appreciate being given the opportunity to look again at myself, and so yeah. And then I know that, gosh, I know for you to be texting me at 3 a.m, I know you are probably lonely and just very angry in your own way. And so I'm gonna send you some love too. Like, you cut me deep, but it's okay. That part of why it's okay is because of the help you gave me over time. So it's this kind of paradoxical thing. And I've just chosen to be silent. I have not responded to any of it. I've just chosen to remain inward. I don't know that I'll ever respond. And I know that what I'm holding accountability, where I'm holding the sense of accountability is, what should I personally do with this inside? I'm sharing with friends, family, and community, as a moment of truth for me. But in this one-to-one relationship, I don't know that it's safe or necessary for me to make to make any reentry right now. I feel that it is not safe for me to do that, and I feel that it is the most wise response to say nothing, but to also acknowledge deeply what has happened and work with it internally. So yeah, but the riddle continues. If and I think the answers will continue to reveal themselves. So I'm sorry if that's an ambiguous answer. But I really appreciate your question.
Thank you so much. It's not ambiguous at all, and it's very helpful for my own journey. And I can resonate deeply with that part that needs to care for oneself and the part that reflects on one's own journey because of how others treat us in the moment.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's quite a gift. I'm receiving this injury as a gift because I really did kind of go back to that place and then was like, wait, that's not where I'm at. And to say that convincingly with, to know that unequivocally is and then to feel a firmer conviction that, and I will not go back to that place either, is a wonderful gift. So yeah.
So we'll take our last question. Karenza, I think. Karenza,
Yeah.
thank you.
Firstly, I'd like to appreciate the difference I experience here. I was once at Dharmagiri years and years and years ago for a month, and just the cultural difference that I'm relishing. Okay, compared to the UK and American groups that sometimes I attend. Regarding the suffering of that you described, I found myself getting swamped. I'm currently in the West Bank. I came here on the 1st of October, so I'm volunteering in the West Bank of Palestine. I'm 67 miles from what's happening in Gaza. And I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay, I'm struggling, but I'm fine. I'm old, and being old is a great blessing because it brings, I don't know what it brings, but it brings something different. So I'm fine, but for me, I need to lean into Kuan Yin when I feel when I'm with suffering of others or my own. Just she who listens to the sounds of the world, so that I'm not having to bear it alone. And I am somebody that picks up the suffering from others. In my body, in my heart, just in my being. And with Kuan Yin, it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karenza. Your name is like a mantra. Could just say that, Karenza. Yeah, that's a quiet part of my practice, is that I place the hand of Kuan Yin or Avalokiteshvara against the wall of my own suffering when it feels like I can't do anything else with it, and that gives me the strength to see the vastness of it, to depersonalize it a bit, and to be vast with it. But it's not always necessary that we go into like the huge expanse of it, but to lean into the love that universal love that is there, to lean into that, again, that legacy of love and compassion that exists, that's embodied in us who are here right now, in the work that you're doing, And that is very real. So I appreciate that reminder. And I encourage you to lean into Kuan Yin again and again and again, so that you don't go under the swamp. It's a great practice and important right now for all of us. Thank you. Please be safe, and appreciate you.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty safe. There's various reasons I'm safe. One is that when the Israelis kill a foreigner, there's a lot of trouble. So I don't feel at all in danger. I mean, it's edgy, but I don't feel in danger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So much deep connection, so much compassion, so much joy, so much wisdom. A beautiful feeling of togetherness, of community, of Sangha from across the globe. And thank you so much to Ofosu for being generous, so generous with your talents and your offerings, and in particular today with your time. We really appreciate every single bit of your sharings and every minute of your time that you've given so generously to us. And we absolutely cannot wait to be in person with you next year. It will be such a joy to be able to sit face to face and keep sharing these teachings and these blessings and this work. And may the divine continue to bless you with courage and openness and vulnerability to be a beautiful warrior of light that you are. Thank you. And Maya is going to close the session off for us with a sharing of blessings. Do we have original sound if we chant?
Oh, yes.
So just becoming aware of your body again. Just taking a moment to check in, to feel your energy right now, to feel your feelings right now. And allowing the resonance of this time together to settle. Feeling the impact, the effect of spending this time together in community practicing. If you like, you can place a hand on your heart. And gratitude for this moment, for this body, for the space we've shared, for the land we're on, for all the support we have in our lives. May the blessings of this practice, of our time together, touch those parts of us that feel most alone, most scared. May they reverberate to touch all beings who are struggling in this moment with fear, loneliness, the threat of violence. May the practice we've shared reverberate to cultivate compassion and peace all around us. May all beings be touched by the time we've spent together here today. Thank you, everyone. Go well.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for the session, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you so much, Ofosu. That was just magical. It really was.
It's very sweet to be connected with all of you. Yeah.
Well, for a second, I thought you weren't gonna rap, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Oh my god! I've been listening to this album like I'm gonna go to a concert. Like I am so ready."
Yeah.
For more music.
Please do a virtual concert.
Yeah, so we can do next time maybe we'll do like 30 more minutes and just do the whole like concert experience too.
Oh, it'd be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, we'll organize that for next year, early next year, like maybe Feb or something.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Oh.
But thank you so much for also being generous with your time and staying on for so much longer. That's really, really generous.
It's such a beautiful offering. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt natural, and I had the space to do it, and now that space is exactly up. So I'm gonna leave. I'll see y'all. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye.
Peace.